Hello, welcome back to the channel. It's Mark from Powersonic and Apprentice 121. You'll see behind me we have a Givenergy EV charger, new to market. I'm going to run through the install and tell you exactly how we got this on the wall behind me here working. We have got some wider work going on here as well. We're bringing some sub-mains down to this garage, which are going to connect into a gateway and all-in-one at some point in the future. So we're putting some double wall rigid ducted in to take some DC cables and Ethernet cables between here and the house, and also a couple of steel wire armors of 25mm cable size to bring the power from the meter box intake on the house to the garage and then return it back to the consumer unit when we get to the stage of fitting the gateway and all-in-one. But today's video, we're focusing on this EV charge point. Let's get on with putting it on the wall. I'm going to show you how simple this is to install. I can tell you now, having done it, it is super easy. And we'll run through the fitting of all of the products and have a little chat about the app as well. So here we have it, the Givenergy EV charger, and this is how it comes in the box. This is my first time looking at it. Apologies about the audio, the guys are busy outside trenching down to this garage for part of a wider job we are doing. And I have forgot my microphone, so we're working off the phone's mic. Hopefully it's going to be okay. Let's get straight to it. So if we're looking in the box here, you get a nice bracket, or what seems to be the bracket. I'm guessing that's what it is. We've got an instruction manual. We'll take a look at that in a second. And then the charger itself. And you can see there's a nice long tethered lead there. And then the box itself. I'll dig all this out and lay it out on the floor because doing it one-handed is a little bit tricky. So as you can see, there's the charger itself now with the cord dropping out the bottom. There is some glands on there which allow for other cable entry. That's interesting. And then we've got a long cable leading off to the charger itself, or the plug, and then a holster with all of the fixings. Now the manual itself comes in a separate little book, and there is a product inspection report to show that they have gone through a series of inspections and it is certified for approval and the date that that has been done. Looking in the instruction manual itself, and we're going to have to look at this because this is the first one I have done, you get the basic product dimensions, the warranty, its operating temperature, its rating, and all that other good stuff, the connectivity for Wi-Fi, 4G, etc. You can then see we've got the bracket on there, it's showing all the component parts and the wiring locations inside there. Interesting to see a 4G sim. Got the AC supply, got the EV supply, a LAN port, a comms cable, and a status meter comms light in there as well. So that's interesting. Oh, sorry, the RS485, the good old comms between all these products. Tells you what's in the packaging, a little bit of an introduction, which is useful. The safety aspects, how to get in touch with Givenergy, all of the stuff about where to and not to use the charge point. So it doesn't want it in direct sunlight or near water sources. Don't use the charger if there's any deformities. Do not puncture the charger. Do not throw the charger. Interesting, I throw all of mine. Do not attempt to repair the charger yourself. Please call a qualified electrician. Best get on the phone. And the charger must be installed vertically. Can't see why you'd want to install it any other way than that, but it's nice that they've covered that off. So there's 3 fixing points which we need to get marked and fixed to the wall, and then we've got the input power cable which comes in there. What's it saying here? Pass the power cable through the rubber grommet, 12mm of insulation. It's recommended to install a miniature circuit breaker on the input cable. For the sealing of the cover, remove the screws, attach everything back together, and then it goes on to talk about the status indicators. So that's interesting. And the purpose and phone numbers again. So it's quite a brief instruction manual. It basically is screw it to the wall, put the cable in, and everything should start joining up together. So that's interesting. We'll have a look at this one going on the wall. It's going to live just up here. Consumer unit is over there. That's an M2 board that we put in a while ago on an existing garage supply down to here, which is only a 2.5mm cable. The guys are making loads of noise outside because we are trenching through a soft dig at the side of the house, and then we're breaking up underneath someone's patio at the moment to bring our cables over for a future AIO and Gateway. So we're dropping in a cable duct, the steel wire armors we need for that, and then we're going to wire in a supply to this board in the short term because the AIO and Gateway are not going in as yet, and we can increase the size of power down to this garage to accommodate the EV charge point. In the end, there is going to be solar panels up on this roof and also on the house roof itself, so we're using a double wall duct in the ground. I'll show you a little bit of that while we're doing this video, but the primary focus is on this. for the time being. Our DC strings are going to go in the double walled underground duct with our data cables, and our SWAs we are going to bury direct with them. We'll have a little look outside about that. It just leaves some capacity in the duct for if ever we need to draw anything else through it. And yeah, that's kind of where we're up to. I'll get on with it. You can see Mattie's dropped me in a 6mm over there already. I'm just going to pull a little data cable across to join in with any CT measurements that we're going to need to do. Obviously in the end, when it's in the AIO and Gateway, which are going to live in here, all the CT monitoring and such can be done direct from here. But for now, we need to be CT measuring back to the main intake area, and that's going to be done through the cables running up the ducts and then over to this charge point. You can see for now he's dropped the twin and earth over the top and then down at this side where we're going to drop down into our charge point, and I'll get straight on with doing that now. So we've got the charger on the wall on this bracket now, and you can see inside the wiring compartment there is 2 holes in the back of here. They want those marking as well. On the actual bracket itself, see there's 3 fixings, just pop those in as they come out the box to secure that, and I've marked through these little holes. I'm just going to drill those out now and secure it to the wall, and then we can start looking to wire that away. So you can see we've got it fixed to the wall now. There's a couple of fixings just in the back I was speaking about, and they hold it back nice and tight on the bracket, nice and solid. And we can now look to bring our cable in and start wiring away into the charge point. We need to bring over power and data, as I said, to link up the CTs. You can see that goes into here. We'll show you that when we come to wire it, and then these are all labelled up for if it's 3-phase, single phase, to pop your conductors in, and we should be ready to start wiring up the other end at that stage. So we've brought our cable down and around to this charge point, and a point of interest here, the screw heads are flat heads, which is interesting. There is quite a wide receptacle underneath for the cables, but having worked on a few of the other Givenergy products where they're Wago style connectors, lever connectors, it is a bit different. I'm not sure if that might change in the future. Seems like a bit of a step backwards, but shouldn't grumble. It's gone in nice and simple, loads of wiring space. I was talking about bringing CT measurement and all of the data comes down to here, but of course we're not installing the all-in-one Gateway just yet, so we're not going to be doing that. The kit doesn't come with a CT clamp, it doesn't come with a metering kit, it's just the charge point in itself. They are all additional extras. So while this is exceptional value, it's under £400 at the moment from certain retailers, you do need those extra products if you are not going to be getting an all-in-one and Gateway in the future, and you want to do some of the smart metering and such that the Givenergy portal allows for. This will work quite happily without any of those things, as long as you've got a supply to the property that isn't at risk of being overloaded due to the consumption, which we haven't got here. Got a nice 100 amp head, the consumption is relatively small, and we're not concerned about that. So in this case we're fine to just carry on with our installation. But point of note, if you are ordering these, they don't come with the CTs and they don't come with the metering either. They are additional extras, which I guess you'd expect considering the price point. Just have a look at the cable route over here. You can see we've tried to match this in with the bricks by using normal twin and earth cable. It's because it's grey, it fits more nicely, and again we're going to stick some fire clips just on there as well to secure it. Matthew has used the staple gun in places up here, as you can see, to stop any prospect of collapse on there. We've then got our consumer unit over here, and again this is one that was fitted some time ago now. There's a steel wire armour that is, I believe, going off to do a socket at the back of the shed, and some internal wiring that's existing from the very first put together in the way this was built. See our consumer unit in here is labelled up, where we've got a spare, a garage socket, outside sockets, some more garage sockets, spares and lighting. We are also installing some Philips Hue lights on the outside of this garage, so we may as well include a bit of that in the video. I'm going to pop those on the wall outside in a little bit, and you can see our cable coming down here is super duper tiny, so we need to take that out. The guys are busy trenching outside. We'll have a little chat with them and see what they're up to, but in the meantime I'm going to drop this twin and earth down into this board so we can wire it away to an MCB, and while I'm at it we may as well pull this out ready to stick our bigger supply in to this board once we're at that stage. So we've now got the little cover flap on the front. All of the electrical connections are covered away. We're just going to mount the holster, and then we can have a look at how this actually energizes and some of the stuff we need to do during commissioning. So you can see the bracket on the wall now. It holds the connector really solidly. It's not falling out of there. It's a nice lock in. However, it's got a similar issue to some of the other manufacturers in fairness, that it sticks out quite a long way. So if it's down the side of a house where the bins are coming past, it's very likely to get knocked. And I know Wallbox, for example, have integrated a holder that keeps the handle and the plug closer to the wall, so it's not likely to get knocked whilst it is stored away. But it's a small complaint. You see it wraps up nice and neat. The cable's very flexible and malleable, which is good. And there's plenty of length on there, 5 meters, to reach across this garage to charge the car up. And you can see we've got the lead coming off the charge point, which runs away over to the bracket, and that's all is ready to go. Basically, we now need to have a look at how this actually energizes and then commissions into the system. We don't have an AIO and Gateway as yet. That's coming in the future, but obviously it's showing the PV generation that's going to go to the car, showing the utility and all of the other stuff on the front display. But it's going to be interesting to see how that does actually integrate with an AIO and Gateway, and we are going to come back to and cover that. For the minute, I'm going to get on with helping the guys outside with the trench, get this main feed over here so we can get this powered up off the new supply and see how it all comes together with the commission. So you can see we're down to depth with 600mm to the bottom of this trench, and we've got our double walled ducting in there to carry our DC strings and data cables, and it's a nice 63mm diameter, so there is loads of room in that to subsequently draw new cables. The steel wire armors are laid in the bottom of the trench. There was no point filling them up through the duct itself while we had access, so they've been buried and they'll all be backfilled with soft sand and cable identification over the top. See, this is the meter cabinet, and we've placed an adaptable box underneath it to house our switch fuse, and for the minute this switch fuse is going to be looking after the garage supply. So we've dropped our tails out of the meter cabinet above into this board, which then has a fuse carrier in there, so we can give the protection required on the cable running under the ground to the garage. In the future, that will take the feed out to the gateway over in the garage, and then the other steel wire armor you can see there will return that back through this same box into the service head, where we can connect in via some of the colour-coded Proteus Henley blocks into the house loads, as we've shown before on the channel. With everything tidied back away, that looks pretty good. So that's it, online and working. I couldn't really show the commissioning of this because it goes onto the customer's app. It's not like the PV stuff where you commission it through your installer portal and then hand it over to the customer. They create a Givenergy account, scan the QR code on the side, takes you through a few different options, does its software update, and then it's in their account for them to manage. But that's it done. It's on there, wired, ready to go. It's a nice solution at the price point it is, and you can see over here we've got our supply cable in. So for the minute, this was going to go eventually into the gateway. For the minute, it's just going into this consumer unit. So that's a 25mm 3-core, and it's glanded down each end. Use the SWA glands in this case just to make it look a bit neater and tidier. We've got the secondary cable here, which is basically going to take the supply back from the gateway to the house loads when we get to that stage, and we've got our 2 Ethernet cables and 2 DC cables through our duct in the garden. And one of those Ethernet cables is basically just as a draw wire we've pulled through if ever it's needed, and the other one is for any CT monitoring that we need. There's a really good access point down here with the old Wi-Fi that we're happy with, so that's all in place and ticked off. So really this is ready to go. Matthew is going to be back on Friday to do the outside lights because time run away with us, but yeah, wired into the M2 board. It's got its own little RCBO. Need to update the labels in here, but it's on this one, so we've got that on the B40. It is a Type A, and again the Givenergy all-in-one has the pen fault protection that you need, it has the RCD protection that you need, all built in, so there's no real issue with any of that. But as always, when they are these electronic variety of RCDs, we stick an upfront Type A on there anyway, just to ensure we are satisfying BS7671. I don't like not doing that, and there could be an argument down the line as to if the product standard for the RCDs in these things actually meets the intent of those regs. So yeah, that's where we're at. I think that's come up just nice. So I thought we'd have a little chat about the product itself and look at the manual and some of the things that it has inside there, and also have a quick overview of setting this up on the customer's app. So this is a 7 kilowatt charge point from Givenergy. It has Wi-Fi built in, it has the ability to have a 4G SIM put into it, and it can be hardwired for a LAN connection. It is 32 amp, 7 kilowatt rated. It requires a double pole MCB or RCD in its supply, as it's stated in the manufacturer instructions. And you'll see on this install, we've used a Type A double pole M2 RCBO. The connector type is the IEC 62196-2, which is Type 2. The charging control is plug and play. There's the RIFID cards that come with it as well, or there can be the app control. So there's 2 RIFID cards that come with the charger, so you can activate it directly with those. The display is via the LEDs, as we've looked at. And as I said, there is the LAN, Wi-Fi, and optional 4G in terms of its connection. And it is compatible with OC PP 1.6J. The operating temperatures are -30 to +55 ambient, which kind of covers the British outdoor locations. And the operating humidity is up to 95%, which is fantastic. So it's IP65 in terms of its rating, and it's got over voltage protection built in, it's got overload protection built in, earth leakage protection, over temperature protection. There is a Type B RCD built into it. There's under voltage protection, short circuit protection, ground protection, and surge protection. So there's lots of protection in there, which is great to see. However, as I've said before, around other charge points, if we're unsure about the type of RCD technology that they're utilising, the regulations are very, very clear in the RCDs that meet their required standard. So we still pop those up front, even if we end up with issues around selectivity between the ratings and types of those RCDs, because essentially they're not of equivalence in the product standards that BS 7671 require. It is a bit of a mess, but to ensure we're satisfying that aspect of things as installers, that's the approach we take. It does have integrated pen vault protection, and you can do solar diversion, which you would obviously be hoping for, with Givenergy being market leaders in the solar PV and battery storage place. This is kind of the last piece of the jigsaw for them to have the whole electrical renewable tech coming in through the gateway and all of the products. And it'll be interesting when we come to install this with a metering kit and other components that are needed inside the gateway to tie all this together at a later date and see how all of that happens. Just to quickly mention about the app again, this is a bit different for those of you who install Givenergy stuff on a regular basis. You'll be used to creating a client account in the portal, doing all of the commissioning and everything, and then at that stage it gets handed over to the customer. With this, the customer has the app on their phone already. That's the way it's worded in the instruction manuals, the way to approach it, sorry. And they simply scan the QR code on the side of the charge point itself in close proximity to it, and then they run through the setup process on their phone, putting the Wi-Fi network details in and such, and then it runs through kind of a check of the charge point and does any software updates and stuff. So that's kind of putting that in the hands of the consumer, which I like, because it's very frustrating with the solar PV stuff across all brands. It's not just Givenergy, where we're the ones stood there trying to do software updates and get stuff working when it hasn't really been working out the box, if you like. I always feel that these software updates should be done later on. Once the system out of the box is commissioned, working and online, that's then in the hands of the consumer and the manufacturer to work those things out. We spend hours and hours waiting for stuff to software update from various manufacturers, and it's very frustrating. So this is nice that it's a change from that with the EV charge point, where the consumer gets the equipment handed over electrically safe and tested by us as installers, and then they're the ones setting it up on their Wi-Fi network and doing any software updates and setup as they require. And the app's really simple to work as well. It's quite straightforward in the way it controls, and it integrates with all of the energy supplies in the same way the Givenergy stuff does, with the battery storage and the PV systems. So if you want to tie it up with the APIs from Octopus Energy and stuff, you can do that very easily through the app itself. So we lost the light on this one, unfortunately. We're now in the dark, but you can see the cable up behind the bin there into the garage. We've popped the patio back like we'd never been there, which is a nice touch from the guys. They did a cracking job. Same down the side of the house with a trench refilled. If you've got any questions in and around this content, please do drop them in below. It's a thumbs up from me with this Givenergy EV charge point. It's another solid option in the kit, and we're ready to bring the world of sunshine into this system with the addition of the AIO and Gateway soon.